Welcome to Mac Nirvana, your path to digital harmony. This is an introduction to the standard settings within iOS, the software that runs the iPhone, the iPad, and the iPod Touch. Now, in previous videos, we've looked at the layout of the home screen, as well as a video on how to edit and customize that home screen. Today, we're going to start examining the basic settings within iOS. Because there's so much to go over within settings, this is organized as a collection of videos, one for each setting. Some of the videos are really short, as the setting is fairly simple. Other videos will be longer because some settings control more functions as well as offer more customization. Let's start with an overview of what settings are and how you get to them, as well as how to exit them once you've made your adjustments. Apple's currently on the 6th version of iOS, which they call iOS 6. If you're using a device with an older version of iOS, you may not have all the settings I'm going to discuss. As an example, iOS 6 introduced a feature called Do Not Disturb. If you're on iOS 5 or earlier, you don't have Do Not Disturb. I'll point out these differences when they come up. The other thing I need to point out here is that settings are presented differently depending on your device. The larger screen of the iPad allows settings to be presented in a different arrangement than the iPhone or iPod Touch. Again, I'll point these out when they show up. The important thing is to pause this video when you need. That way you don't miss anything, and you can give yourself time to explore and play with each of these settings. To begin, we need to enter settings. You do this by tapping on the settings icon found here, the one with the gears on it. This list is the settings. It allows you to customize how your device behaves and interacts with you, phone calls, the internet, and any other type of information going both into the device and coming back out. In order to access a setting, you need to tap on the name. So go ahead and tap on the word General. As I demonstrated with home pages in the last video, the iPhone displays screens as columns or slides. When you tap on a menu name, that menu slides in from the right. The menu that we were on slides off to the left. For iPad users, this is slightly different, as the settings menu will always remain in this left-hand column, but any of the additional sub-menus in the right-hand column will behave as they do on the iPhone. Let's go into the About menu. Tap on the word About. The General menu slides off, and you now have the About menu in front of you. You can determine which menu you're on by looking at the title bar across the top edge of the screen here, and it says About. Now, how do we get out of the About menu and get back to General? Notice here in the upper left-hand corner, we see a button that points to the left, and it reads General. This is called the back button, and it's going to take you back to the previous screen. Tap on it once, and we're now back on the General menu. We can tell this by looking again at the title bar, which now reads General. And now the back button reads Settings. Tap on the Settings button once, and we're taken back to the Settings menu. For those of you on iPad, once you've reached the General menu, there won't be a back button to the Settings menu, as it is permanently in that left-hand column, as I mentioned earlier. Once you're on the Settings menu, the back button goes away. This is because it's the uppermost menu. There's no other menus to go back to. The only way to leave settings is to click your home button once, which will return you back to the home screen. Practice looking for that back button because it's used extensively within iOS. It's used in email, so if we want to leave an email message and return back to the inbox. It's also used within the App Store and the iTunes Store, just to name a few. So this is the way you make your way around the settings menu. Please continue on to our videos covering each of the standard settings for details on how to utilize the features your device has to offer. If you would like to continue growing in knowledge and confidence with your iPad, iPhone, or any other Apple products, please email MacNirvana at info@macnirvana.com. We provide individualized training both in person and live over the web. We also offer group and business training as well as consulting. Visit us at the web at macnirvana.com for more details. For Mac Nirvana LLC, this is Rob, thanking you for spending this time with me.